Hello there everyone, and welcome to Not Everyone Is Here. This time we're covering Team Fortress 2, but I should stress that this won't be a very long episode, primarily because I'm not very familiar with this franchise. I've played it, sure, and it's not a game I go back to at all, but it is a game I've had experience with. And to be frank, I know very little of the franchise in itself. I know it's a team-based shooter. I know that when Overwatch came out, it was declining in popularity. Then Overwatch declined in popularity, and Team Fortress 2 has been making a comeback. And I also know that Team Fortress 1, Team Fortress Classic, is much different from, well, Team Fortress 2. It's basically like a whole new game, despite it being the second game in the franchise. Of course, there will never be a third. Haha, funny joke, right? So when it comes down to it, I know very little of the franchise. But the main thing I wanted to talk about with this was primarily the idea that could Team Fortress 2 even make it into Smash before Half-Life? Because if we go back to the Terry presentation, we know that Sakurai would call up companies and say, hey buddy pal, look, hear me out, okay? So I want your company's character. Can I have him? And they'll be like, oh, you mean X character? It's like, yeah, X character. They're like, oh, okay, sure. And their X character joins the battle, right? In this case, X character would of course be, well, Gordon Freeman from Half-Life, as Half-Life seemingly is the mascot for Valve, right? In terms of its games, I mean, Half-Life literally has a spin-off series called Portal, which I don't even think was made by Valve originally, but I'm not gonna get into all that. But Half-Life is essentially Valve's, well, biggest franchise. Team Fortress 2 is big in its own right, of course. You see, the main thing here is, like I said, would it get over Half-Life? And that's really hard to answer, because we have an example of a franchise getting in before the mascot franchise, and that's with Steve and Banjo. You see, they got in before Master Chief. Though, based on what we know, Banjo was only in Smash thanks to Minecraft, and Minecraft, well, in relation to Smash, was in talks since for 5 years before he was eventually, well, revealed and released. This would mean that potentially Sakurai could have spoken to Mojang during the Smash 4 era, potentially even before Mojang was, well, acquired by Microsoft. That is a hypothetical, of course, and I'm not going to say it's true or anything. It's just a hypothetical. So let's say that was the case. Well, in that case, Chief wouldn't even be in contention because, well, they weren't talking to Microsoft at the time. When they finally did, it was to get a character that has been on the fans' mind since, well, Melee, even arguably Smash 64. So, for me, the way I see it is that if Team Fortress was in contention, I'd see it only happening after Half-Life. But then again, you never know. It's very intriguing, and since we have that example with Microsoft, I can see why a lot of people would want to see Team Fortress and Smash and have reasons to at least believe that there is a chance for those characters to make it in. And of course, one of the benefits for talking about a franchise like Team Fortress 2 is just the potential. Now, sure, it might not get a fighter, maybe a Spirit, maybe a Me, but maybe not a fighter. If it does, that'd be cool, but think about it from this perspective though. If they were to be in Smash, how would their movesets be, as an example? I think it'd be very interesting, something interesting to talk about, because you see, a lot of characters that don't make it in Smash, we can always wonder what their movesets could have been. But in this instance, we can just go on crazy. There's so many characters, so many ways you can represent this, franchise of 2 games, and potentially find something cool to do with them. But that's just my opinion. What about yours? Do you think Team Fortress would have a chance before Half-Life? Do you think it has a chance at all, having any form of representation whatsoever? And if you'd like, hey, leave a moveset idea down in the comments below. I'd find it very interesting, because for me, a franchise like this has the crazy potential of having crazy moveset ideas, like, I don't know, heavy, throw someone, bob boom, I'm just joking around. Like I said, I barely know anything about this series outside of what I've seen in trailers and stuff. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves, and as always, remember, talk about any franchise you want, because at the end of the day, no matter who the last character is, Someone out there is gonna cry about it, and it ain't gonna be me. Alright, see you guys next time. Peace.
I'm coming through, partner, we can do this right. You're the fire, I'm the wind tonight. Burning dread, haha, that's right, baby.